What's going on, GemMintnites? GemMint here with today's new comic book day reviews. It's Wednesday, March 17th, and kind of a lighter week of comics this week, and not really the greatest week either. But nevertheless, we're going to get through these as spoiler-free as possible. Before we even jump into this, you guys got to check out the campaign for our Invincible Red Sonja #1 is live right now. This is my daughter's first published artwork. My daughter Jade Hope drew this Red Sonja, and we had a really good first day. So make sure to check the link in the description below to back our Red Sonja variant. This is going to be for issue 1, the new run by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. And like always, before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss one of these videos. Plus, we're doing a big giveaway that I'll get into more detail at the end of the video. With that out of the way, let's jump into it. I read one book digitally. This is by Image Skybound, and this is Ultra Mega Issue 1 by James Harren and Dave Stewart. So this is a kaiju book, but it's got a lot more going on than just being a monster book. As you can see the character on the cover here, it almost feels like a Ultraman type of character, but basically these 3 humans have been tapped in their dream and amassed the power to battle these kaijus. Now the thing with the kaijus, they are growing from humans who are infected with this cosmic virus. So what the book does a really great job of is tying in the main character with his family, his ex-wife and their son, who have been infected, and he's been trying to keep away from everybody so that they don't change and morph into these big kaijus, which has never been done. Typically they take out these people fast. Nobody has ever let a child incubate for 10 years and become what this child becomes in this book. So you get your big godlike battles between these ultra men, ultra mega, whatever you want to call it, versus these big kaiju monsters, but it's got a very sick, twisted horror vibe to it. Almost reminds me of like Akira type of body, like transformations into monsters and such. So it was an interesting book. It was like a longer issue, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I'll definitely pick up issue 2. The last book of the indies from Image Comics, it's Radiant Black issue 2. This is by Kyle Higgins with Marcelo Costa and Becky Carey. So I like Radiant Black. Radiant Black, Kyle's doing what he does best, which is kind of like Power Ranger-esque books, but this is his original creation. Now, issue 2 was a little bit slow. We're dealing more with our main character. He's this failed writer. He had to move back with his parents. It didn't work out in LA or whatever. He came up on this radiant black power, this miniature black hole in issue 1. In issue 2, we find out that some other people picked up those powers as well, and they're not necessarily good guys. So our main character kind of has his hero-defining moment here. I think how this ends, it shows that he's going to go a different path than just robbing banks like these other Radiant Blacks, or whatever you want to call them. Big flashy artwork. It reminds me of Power Rangers, but like I said, it's Kyle's original creation, and I'm down for the ride. Moving over to DC, let's start with this Superman Red and Blue issue 1. This is, I think, a $4.99 book, and it has about 4 or 5 stories. I don't recommend this book. This book is kind of like the Wolverine White, Black, and Blood, but it's not an action story. It's all of these kind of like Superman stories that are more like introspective. I don't know if that's the right word I want to use, but it's kind of like more it's not your big Superman fight stuff. It's kind of like Superman as Clark Kent interviewing this this warlord from World War II that had him captured. It's another story with the boy that saved Superman back in his early days. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit slow, kind of boring, and it really wasn't worth it for me. So that's my take on Superman Red and Blue. Then we have Justice League 59. So Infinite Frontier kind of goes back to the numbering prior to Future State. This one is by Bendis, Marquez, and Bonvillain, with a Justice League Dark backup story by Ron V. How do you pronounce this? Zermancio and Ferraro Jr. So let me start with the Ron V stuff. I really like Ron V, but I got to be honest, I don't like any of the stuff he's been doing with Justice League Dark. I find it extremely boring. A lot of narration, like every panel's got a huge box of narration. It's just like, come on, man. And just like an uninteresting story. So I'm not digging the Justice League Dark stuff. When I picked up this issue and I saw Bendis as the writer for Justice League, I was like, oh man, I probably wouldn't have even picked this up if that was the case, if I knew it was Bendis. But I really liked the Justice League story. I thought it flowed really well. Introduces this new villain. It kind of reminds me of like Blastar from Marvel. But Justice League kind of teaming up with Black Adam, fighting this new threat who has ties to another character. I'm not going to spoil it, but I kind of like how it ties into this newer DC hero And it was interesting. I'm down to continue to read Justice League, but man, backup story for me was sticking with Infinite Frontier. We have Nightwing issue 78. This is by Tom Taylor, Redano, and Lucas. Love this issue. I thought this was such a great issue, both artwork and the writing. The artwork, man, he does a great job of doing these landscape kind of backdrops, and there's this big double-page spread with the sunset in New York City, or I don't know if it's supposed to be New York or Gotham. It looks like New York. It was amazing. I love the writing here. I love going kind of back to Dick Grayson's past, and then he reads the will and testament of Alfred, and it looks like Nightwing might have some funding behind him now. Maybe he'll be the high-tech Gotham vigilante where Bruce Wayne is no longer that. So I thought it was a really great issue. And then Catwoman 29. So this one is Ron V as well with Blanco and Belair. And man, Ron V again. It's not even his fault. I think that this was really well written. I feel like it flowed a lot better. But, you know, I've tried to pick up this Catwoman title so many times, and that's just not interesting. I don't like this whole Kingpin Catwoman vibe going on here. There's this new character with this, like, honeycomb mask, this kind of assassin type of character. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't, like, boring like Justice League Dark was. But, I don't know, I'm just not into Catwoman solo titles. Moving over to Marvel, I picked up the Black Knight issue 1, Curse of the Ebony Blade. This is by Spurrier, Davila, Parsons, and Prianto. I really like the Black Knight character. I think he's really well written because he's really strong, really powerful, kind of like the opposite of Thor. He's the only one that can wield the Ebony Blade because you don't have to be worthy. You have to have a lot of like evil and hate and anger within you. And the more angry he is, the stronger he becomes. Kind of sounds like Hulk now, but think like reverse Thor. And I really like how the Avengers don't really take him seriously. He doesn't take himself seriously, but at the end of the day, he is really strong and really powerful. So I kind of like how they play with that with this character. Now, as far as the villain, I don't even remember who the villain was they were fighting. I feel like it was some type of dragon or something. I don't know. I don't really remember the plot, but I remember the character, and I really liked the interaction between the Avengers and the story of the Black Knight. And Thor not being able to lift the Ebony Blade was pretty cool as well. So I dug it. Going over to X-Force 18, love this team. I love Quentin Quire, Kid Omega, and this is by Percy Brown and Guru EFX. Basically, it was a solo Kid Omega book, so hey, right up my alley. There is some creature that is psychologically, is that the right word? Attacking the X-Force. Like, he's in their minds. He's making them see things and think things and putting them in these different scenarios. And it seems to be like this evil version of Kid Omega. It has something to do with all the deaths that he's encountered through his time in X-Force. We kind of alluded to that in the previous issue. Amazing artwork here. I really love the, I guess, nightmare sequences here and the creatures and morphing into these monsters and their nightmares and stuff. I don't know. It was a great issue. Really enjoyed it. Interested to see where it plays out and what this monster is. It seems like it's some version of Kid Omega, but we'll see how it came about. All right, so I dropped Amazing Spider-Man. I said I'm not picking up any King of Black tie-ins, but I wanted to give this one a shot. I wanted to see what McKay did with Spider-Man because I love his Taskmaster run. Also with Bandini. Then you have Albuquerque, Diamaco, Arceniega, and Rosenberg. So there's two stories here of Spider-Man with Reptile. Not Reptile from Mortal Kombat, but kind of like Marvel's Beast Boy. I think he's from Avengers Academy. So the first story is the main story. It's kind of Spider-Man's perspective, and he's fighting the symbiote dragons. He's not really doing a good job. Reptile swoops in, and his power is that he can just morph into all different types of dinosaurs. He's got this like older Russian lady that he's rescuing, and he basically reminds Spider-Man like, you know, stay in your lane. Do what you're good at. You're good at rescuing people. You're not Thor. You're not going to battle these godlike creatures. So do what you're able to do to be a hero. And I thought it was a really good issue. I thought it was written well. I love the lifelike art style in that main story. The backup story was kind of more from Reptile's perspective, the aftermath of that first interaction, and then it's basically just like a Spider-Man Reptile 2-in-1 team up on their exploits and trying to save people during the Null invasion. I'm glad I picked it up, though. All right, guys, and then we have Iron Fist issue 3, Heart of the Dragon by Hama, Watcher, and Menon. I'm really digging this Iron Fist series. I don't think a lot of people are up on this one, but I mean, you got zombies and dragons, and then you got Iron Fist teaming up with Luke Cage. I think it's a great issue. I think it's really fun. They're going to all the different locations where these dragons are on Earth and trying to convince Earth's heroes not to destroy the dragons. Fight the zombies, but leave the dragons alone because they're part of the cosmic balance. So I really like this kind of like everybody's splitting up and going into their own locations to try to save the dragons. one person fails, and I'm interested to see what happens with the death of this dragon. So cool, nice little ending too, and definitely a fun series. All right, guys, and on to the pick of the week. You know what it is. It had to be Thor. Thor issue 13, Donny Cates, Nick Klein, and Matt Wilson. I'm sorry, man. Thor is just the most interesting, the most fun and epic superhero book that's on the shelves right now, man. It's like not even close compared to all the other books. I mean, the Thor run with what they're doing with Donald Blake, Odin back in the mix now, trying to clean up the mess that he kind of caused when he went away. I feel like those are lyrics to a song or something. Anyway, Nick Klein, the artwork is amazing. It's big, it's exciting, it's explosive, and the storytelling is second to none, man. Love this run. I highly recommend you pick up Thor in trades if you've been missing these single issues. Next issue is the last part of this arc, Prey. Super excited to see how it ends and what it means with Odin coming back. I mean, Thor wasn't able to handle it. He wasn't able to be the Allfather, it seems like, and he had to come back to this world in another vessel because he's trapped in that Donald Blake world where he goes when Thor used to hit that cane on the floor, on the ground. So the body that Thor uses to come back was a nice little twist and nod to the past as well. So loving Thor, interested to see where it goes. And there we go. Those are the comics for this week. Let me know what you thought about them in the comments below, and let me know what your pick of the week was. Like I said, you're going to want to be subscribed and comment on this video and any other video where I promoted the giveaway for our next subscriber milestone. Once we hit 125,000 subscribers, we're going to go live, pick a random video where I promoted the giveaway, and use a random YouTube comment generator to draw a worldwide winner for this Spider-Man premium format exclusive statue from Sideshow Collectibles. So guys, definitely want to comment on as many videos as possible, and I appreciate you guys watching. Don't go anywhere. Check out my last week's new comic book day reviews if you missed it, and stay minty fresh. Peace.